Another round of applause for the Elias Herrera Middle School Mighty Hawk Band and Jazz Band. Under the direction of Jorge Garcia and Paloma Pedraza. Good morning, I'm Alex Meyer from UISD's Communications Department. Thank you for your presence as we celebrate another landmark moment in UISD's esteemed history, and today's moment belongs to Elias Herrera Middle School. It's been a long time coming, and it's absolutely wonderful that we can be here sharing in this moment instead of doing it virtually. I think it's a lot more fun. Do you all agree with that? Yeah, I think so. Finally, right? All right, I'd like to thank the Soaring Sapphires dance team under the direction of Teresa Ramirez and the Hawk cheerleaders under the direction of Cristina Solis. They have been welcoming our guests to today's celebration, doing a great job up there. Also, our wonderful ushers making you feel at home: Diego Botello, Sean Gaitan, Orlando Garza, Adriana Lopez, Caleb Salinas, Taylor Salinas, and Sebastian Villanueva. At this time, I'm going to ask everybody to stand up for the United High School Air Force Color Guard as they present their colors under the direction of Master Sergeant Charles L. Blakeney. Please remain standing as colors will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Dela Charles, the Texas Pledge by Sharon Gonzalez, and the Star Spangled Banner by Lucy Beatty, which will be followed by a moment of silence, prayer, or meditation. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God and one and indivisible.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we'd watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Go, girl. Go, girl. We now stand for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Thank you very much, United High School, Air Force ROTC, and the ladies here. Thank you so much for giving us such a great start. Appreciate it. Thank you. A round for the young ladies here, please. Magnificent job. And I'll be the first to admit, it's not always easy being in front of a crowd. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the gallery as you entered this morning. The Herrera family was nice enough to help us put this project together. So if you haven't looked at the gallery along the back bleachers, please take a look. That is really a picture history of Mr. Herrera, the gentleman after which this school is named. At this time, I would like to introduce board members, our superintendent of schools, and special guests. Please stand as I call your names or groups. I'll begin with parliamentarian for our board, Mr. Frank Castillo, right over here. And our superintendent of schools, Mr. David H. Gonzalez. Representing United States Congressman Henry Cuellar, we have his representative for the 28th District, Ms. Susan San Miguel. Thank you for joining us. We also have Mrs. Lupita Cepeda representing Texas State Representative Tracy O. King. There you are. From the county, we have Captain Alex Garcia representing Webb County Sheriff Martin Cuellar. Thank you, sir. Webb County Constable Harold DeValley. Webb County Clerk Margie Ibarra. County Treasurer Raul Reyes. District Attorney Isidro Chilo Alaniz. From the city of Laredo, we have Councilman for District 5, Ruben Gutierrez Jr. with us today. And we'd also like to thank former UISD Superintendent Roberto J. Santos for joining us today. Muchas gracias. From Laredo College, Lupita Cepeda, Board President. And Vice President, Jorge Delgado. Also from Laredo College, we have Dr. Federico Solis Jr. He's the Vice President of Student Success and Enrollment, who is also representing Laredo College Interim President, Dr. Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina. Next, I would like to ask the superintendent's administrative team and cabinet to stand up so we may give you a very well-deserved round of applause. Please arise. And now we will recognize the principal and assistant principal for this fine middle school, Principal Carlos Martinez and Assistant Principal Evelyn Avalos, who have given this campus an absolutely wonderful start. We would also like to commend our district facilities department as well as our architects, our contractors, and construction team. We have a few representatives here. Representing the Director of Construction Management, Ignacio Alaniz. And we also have Guillermo Cavazos from Cavazos Architects, I believe. There he is. And of course, the most special warm welcome is for the Herrera family, who I'm very close to here, who I've had the pleasure of connecting with and talking to over the last couple of years. And we're going to begin by introducing you to Miss Olga Herrera, right up here with me. Ms. Herrera and I talked so much back and forth. I talked your ear off, didn't I? But you're okay now. All right. Also, with her joining her family is Elias Herrera Jr. Please rise, please. Hold on. Dr. Rose Ann Saldivar. Rick Herrera. Brenda Wolf. Olga Sue Herrera. Don't be shy. Bernadette Collazo. Ken Herrera. Dr. Juan J. Herrera. Dr. Lydia Wiederhold. See, a quick note here, we'd also like to welcome the Herrera Middle School APs, Mrs. Carrion, and the counselors. Would you please stand so we can recognize you? At this time, our board parliamentarian, Mr. Frank Castillo, will provide us with some commentary on this beautiful morning.
On behalf of the school board, and I take the liberty to speak for them today, I want to welcome the Herrera family to this very special event and moment that I think serves well the legacy of Mr. Herrera. I want to also thank Mr. Carlos Martinez, Mr. David Gonzalez for reminding me, for Ms. Gloria Rendon, to reminding me I do have a job, I have to go to work, but it's never enough to be here because this is one thing I did not want to miss today. To continue just briefly, I read about Mr. Herrera. I never met him personally, but his legacy, his quiet leadership, it's outstanding. What he did as a high school, college athlete, his years in the Army, his continued success in educating our community, our students. I think I probably am seeing some products of his education present today. He did so much for United Independent School District, and I feel very humble that he has done things that still influences us today. As a school board member, I hold a lot of responsibility now to do the things that are right, to do the things that are necessary to educate our young children. With that, I want to say congratulations to the Herrera family, to his legacy of what he did for our community, and I bid you good day and have a great event with the company of our staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. We appreciate you being here. And next, we'll hear some words from our superintendent of schools, Mr. David H. Gonzalez.
First of all, great morning to everybody. What a great opportunity. I was told earlier we could not have this event last year because of COVID and so forth, but what a great opportunity to have it today, this morning, when we start at UISD at our 60th year of existence. Being that Mr. Elias Herrera was part of the foundation of the beginning of the district when it started in 1960. At this time, I'd like to recognize all former administrators, staff members, and presently who had the opportunity to work Mr. Elias Herrera during his time with UISD. And though some of us have traveled, some of you have traveled from out of town, if y'all can stand to be recognized at this time, I want the family to know how committed you are, that it was important for you to be here. So if you've worked Mr. Herrera, could y'all stand? To the Herrera family, specifically to Ms. Olga Herrera, this is important to us, and I hope we do justice this morning by honoring your husband, the family members, your father, okay, for everything that he did at United ISD. For the students here and for others who don't know too much about his legacy, let me just share just a little bit. And when I printed it out, I made sure it was in big letters, so I wouldn't use my glasses this morning. During UISD's formative years, Mr. Elias Herrera was responsible for serving as the first administrator for several department positions within the district. He was the only principal for Nye Junior High School. He was the district director of lunch programs, director of transportation, director of maintenance and janitorial services, program director of school elections, district discipline hearing officer, district certified asbestos supervisor, district assistant superintendent. He was the athletic director. He was at one time intern superintendent and director of support services. Mr. Herrera had a tremendous impact on UISD and its growth. When he retired in 1997, he retired with 40 years of service in education. What a legacy. To everyone here, I thank you for joining us this morning. This was important not only to the family, but it was important to everyone that has been entrusted with educating kids within UISD in the last 60 years. And just a note, I was also advised that Ms. Olga Herrera also should have stood right now because she was also a principal at Nye Elementary at one time. So thank you, ma'am, as well. I hope that this is something that y'all remember to the family, the Herrera family, because like I said, it is important to us. I also want to, one last thing, I'd like to recognize Mr. Martinez, our principal, for hosting us this morning. Thank you, sir. Good job, well done. And I know when we look at the video, for some of you new, this fine man, it's not a time to be sad. It is a time here this morning to celebrate his life and his legacy for what he did in his time at UISD. So let's celebrate his legacy this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Next, we're going to have a few words from the principal of Elias Herrera Middle School, Mr. Carlos Martinez. On the way.
One of the perks of a big campus, right? Good morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It really, really means a lot to us working at the campus. Like Mr. Gonzalez said, that's a tough act to follow. Very, very privileged to be able to do this face-to-face in front of Elias Herrera family, colleagues, people that have worked with him, people that know him. I did not get the privilege to work with him nor know him personally, but I've done my research. One of the things that I prided myself on getting this job was to be able to work for somebody who has a name that's very, very big shoes to fill. 40 years of experience, 40 years of dedication to education, which is what we work with on a daily basis. My biggest task was to make sure that I emulate that every single day to the kids that we work with today. So our staff, our students, our parents, every single person that comes to this campus will know that the expectation is set very high so that we can carry on his legacy. Just want to share a few words with you. Thank you, distinguished guests, colleagues, UISD board members, the overall abundant support from the district, from everybody that has contributed to the opening of this school during the pandemic last year where we were 100% virtual. The support was endless. The pride that everybody took in making sure that this got done. I'm not going to lie to you, it was a little difficult at first, opening a new campus as a new principal with new staff during a pandemic. But what do you do when you have good colleagues, when you have good support staff? You push through and you make it happen. And that's exactly what we did, and we're going to continue that, much like Mr. Elias Herrera did through his 40 years of going through what sounds every possible position that was known to man, starting from a district of only a few to thousands. Mr. Gonzalez, thank you for your kind words, sir. Thank you for entrusting in me at this school to do the best that I can to lead this school in the right direction. I want to echo what Mr. Castillo said and Mr. Gonzalez had mentioned about being extremely privileged, being extremely blessed to work with a staff that is hardworking, that goes above and beyond, much like Mr. Elias Herrera did. I want to share one of the things that we push on this campus. Now, if you are not aware, we carry a PBIS program, which is positive behavior reinforcement for our students to set the example of what we expect from our students our staff, our parents, our employees. It's only fitting that our logo is EHMS Hawks. To my understanding, I believe that was named after one of his Little League teams, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Okay. I'm a huge baseball fan, played baseball my whole life, so there was a connection there already. But one of the things that we took a step further on behalf of my admin team that we came up with last year was, what does the hawk signify? What do we use it for to represent on our campus? So when you look at that, we use the H for honor. We use honor in everything we do. We take pride, we take honor, we respect everything that we do on this campus. I apologize. 3 seconds. Okay. The second letter in the word Hawks is the letter A. It stands for attitude. You have to have the right attitude in everything you do. You have to be positive about everything that you have to overcome as a student, as an employee, in everyday life. The W stands for wisdom. You got to be wise in your decision making. You have to be able to think twice before you act, and nowadays think 3 times before you send a text message. The K stands for kindness. If you're kind to people, it will pay itself twice back to you. And more importantly, you're not looking to get it back. You want to pay that forward to somebody else, much like Elias Herrera did when he did his 40 years of service. I'm sure he didn't do it to get anything in return. He did it to spread his wealth of knowledge and his love for the students and for education. You've always got to be kind in everything you do. If you have honor, attitude, wisdom, and you're kind, that will equal the S, which is success, much like Elias Herrera. So we push that to every single student, every single employee, every single person that comes through these doors. Are you hawking it today? Are you a hawk today? That is what we push for. I leave you with that because I will continue to do the best that I can along with my administrative staff. Special shout out to my admin team in the back, all my teachers that are back there with me. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. To our front office personnel that are always, and I use this slogan a lot, Chick-fil-A in it. When you go to Chick-fil-A, you always get customer service, and that's what we pride ourselves on here too. And I do that because we are a business entity just like anywhere else. We're in the business of educating students. We're in the business of making sure that we teach proper manners, respect, and let them learn so they can grow on and become great individuals themselves. So everything we do has a purpose. I wanted to share that with you so that you know that in entrusting in me that this campus is headed in the right direction, I'm going to continue that path, and I'm going to take a great team with me, and we're going to continue to show success for many years to come. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. At this time, we invite you to enjoy a video. We have it on both screens. It's about Mr. Elias Herrera, who shall always be revered as a pioneer and advocate for public school education in our community. This video was produced by our instructional television department under the direction of Susan Carlson. So let's roll that. United ISD is proud to showcase their newest middle school. This campus was named in honor of Mr. Elias Herrera, whose contributions propelled the district to early success and rapid growth. The United ISD Board of Trustees, Superintendent David H. Gonzalez, and our administrative staff thank parents and the community for their input and support. This thoroughly updated and renovated campus is an incredible space that will inspire our students to excel in all areas of academics and personal growth. Welcome to Elias Herrera Middle School. Mr. Elias Herrera was born July 22, 1929, and graduated from Martin High School in 1949. Mr. Herrera served his country while in the U.S. Army and attained the rank of corporal as a member of the 82nd Airborne Division. He was honorably discharged as a Korean veteran in 1955. Soon after his discharge, he attended Texas A&I University under the GI Bill. He was 1 year away from earning an engineering degree when he heard another calling, changed his major, and graduated with a degree in education. Mr. Herrera began his newfound career in 1957 as an elementary teacher for Nye Common School District located on Santa Maria Avenue. His school supply resources consisted of 3 sets of books for grades 4 through 6, 2 pieces of chalk, and 1 eraser. In 1960, Nye, Cactus, and John Masterson Elementary Schools consolidated to form the United Consolidated Independent School District. By this time, Nye Elementary was located on Del Mar Boulevard and served as the district's headquarters. In a short time, Mr. Herrera rose to serve as the first administrator for several departments in the school district. He was the sole principal for Nye Elementary and Nye Junior High School. As the principal of Nye Junior High School, he initiated the United Longhorn Yearbook and was the yearbook's chief photographer. Along with his responsibilities as a school principal, he was also a coach, bus driver, and lunch line server. Mr. Herrera also served as District Discipline Hearing Officer, District Director of Lunch Programs, and School Elections. Over the years, Mr. Herrera continued to take the lead in many areas, serving as interim superintendent, assistant superintendent, director of transportation, maintenance and janitorial services, athletic director, and director of support services. He also supervised manpower programs, purchasing for the district, mapped school bus routes, and established the Student Rider's Handbook. Mr. Herrera retired from United ISD in 1997 after 40 years of service to the district. Though he passed away in 2016, his outstanding service to our district and students will continue to be cherished and celebrated by the community. Elias Herrera Middle School is located at 8800 McPherson Road and is a feeder campus for United High School. The campus has 43 classrooms, 9 science labs, 3 computer labs, 2 special education classrooms, 2 art classrooms, and a tech training classroom, all of which are fully networked. The Fine Arts Wing encompasses a band hall, ensemble room, rehearsal room, and practice rooms. The restored library features support meeting rooms and state-of-the-art projection screens and data port counters for instructional assignments. The newly refurbished gymnasium has ample bleacher seating, dressing rooms, locker rooms, and an athletic weight room for boys and girls. The safety of students, employees, and visitors is of paramount importance. Thus, all arrivals at Herrera Middle School are required to pass through a security station before entry is allowed. We proudly welcome all new students to Elias Herrera Middle School, which is named in honor of a remarkable educator, visionary, innovator, and leader who worked hard to ensure that our students would get a grade A public school education. United ISD extends its gratitude to his family, who gave of their time to help us open a remarkable new campus named in honor of their patriarch. Elias Herrera Middle School's mascot is the mighty soaring hawk, and the school colors are orange, yellow, and blue. We're extraordinarily proud of this new campus and look forward to watching our students reach their fullest potential at United ISD's 11th Middle School. And that is the short version of everything that Mr. Herrera has done for this campus. Every great district has a great foundation, and he was there from the very beginning, and that's why we are where we are right now. By the way, I also want to thank our technology department for their assistance with this presentation, as well as our fine arts department. Our teams get together and do this, and so we appreciate all of your help and assistance. You get us out of a lot of issues here and make sure things go smoothly, so we are always grateful for your assistance and for, frankly, saving the day more often than not. Okay? Round of applause for them, please. Okay, we're now down to some special presentations on behalf of Congressman Henry Cuellar. Ms. Susan San Miguel will present a flag that has been flown over the U.S. Capitol to Principal Martinez. So if you would step forward, please, so we can make this first presentation.
Yes. Good morning, and thank you for having us here. It's an honor to be in such a beautiful school. Congratulations, Ms. Herrera. I'm here in place of Congressman Cuellar. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here due to a schedule conflict, but we're honored to present to you this flag. This flag is and a certificate, and this certificate is to certify that this flag was flown to the Capitol on January 11th, 2019, at the request of the Honorable Congressman Henry Cuellar, District 28. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. San Miguel, and please thank the congressman for being so kindly and giving us something very special for the campus. Okay, at this time, members of the UISD Board of Trustees and Superintendent David H. Gonzalez will present the Herrera family with some tokens of appreciation. After this presentation, we will hear from Ms. Olga Herrera and some family members. So if you would kindly step forward near the podium. If we could have some members of the Herrera family join us, please. Yes. This frame is a beautiful collage that is an observance of this very special day. A nice drone shot of the school, a picture of our patriarch, Mr. Elias Herrera, and an invitation, and of course, the sign that you see at the front. So we hope that'll make a nice little souvenir of this very special day for your family. But we also have, my mic is cutting out, excuse that please. I believe our Director of Athletics, Coach Cruz, has something for the family as well. Would you like to come forth, sir? Did you want to say anything? Did you want to say anything? If you want to.
Good afternoon. My name is Bobby Cruz, Director of Athletics. I went to school with the ugliest guy here, JJ. But he wanted me to, Mr. Herrera, he wanted me to share this, how the name Hawks. And so a while back, our former administration and board members had mentioned that we were going to name the school after Mr. Herrera. And they said, do you know who he did everything? Like he drove the bus, served food, he probably coached the other team, our opponents did well. He did everything. And so our former administration superintendent and board of trustees said, we need a mascot. And so I said, well, there's Gators, there's Rattlers, there's Hornets, Yellow Jackets. We had given them so many names. One of the board members said he used to coach a team. And he was a volunteer coach for the longest time. And I said, yes, but in my mind, I said, I think it was the Eagles. Because I grew up with these guys. And he said, no, it wasn't the Eagles. I said, I'm pretty sure it was the Eagles. And then he said, I think it was the Hawks. And I said, you know what? It was the Hawks. And so I talked to other people our age. And I talked to Coach David Sanchez back there, who remembered fondly that it was the Hawks. I talked to other guys our age. And we said, yeah, it was the Hawks, Bobby. It was the Hawks. We used to beat them all the time. They never did. They were very, very well coached. With that being said, that's how we came up with the Hawks, because Herrera Koala Bears does not sound good. I want to play them all the time. So we wanted something fierce, and and so with that being said, we'd like to present the family, and with the first football jerseys, number 1 for the Herrera Hawks.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we do have a few more tokens of appreciation to give to the Herrera family from the staff who's going to step forward right now. I'm glad there's a lot of you because you have a lot of stuff to take home today. Whoever has the truck carries it, right? I'm going to call Miss Herrera to speak. I don't know if you want to go over and help her.
Oh, sure, sure.
Are you Dr. Paul?
Oh, now you don't want to
Who's
get
Dr. Juan?
right here. Doesn't respond. Oh, good, I'm not.
Yeah, you're right. They weren't paying attention. Okay, we're going to take some pictures, I believe. Our photographers are busily at work. Again, thanking the students from this school for helping us today, all of our ushers and welcome staff. Would you like to pull the merchandise out of this? Is it a shirt? Another shirt? Okay. Pull that out of the shirt. If anybody wants to open their bag for the next picture, you're welcome to do so. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. These are gorgeous shirts. Let me know when you're done taking pictures. We're going to wait for the final photographs before we proceed. Okay, at this time I'm going to ask Ms. Olga Herrera to remain up here with me along with Dr. Roseanne Saldivar and Dr. Juan Herrera. We'd like to bring Ms. Olga Herrera to say a few words. I'm going to move this out of the way.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Elias was a very humble man, and I don't think he would have wanted all of this fuss made over him, you know. Okay, let me hold it with this other hand. First of all, I would like to thank the board members, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Santos, Mr. Martinez, for all of this preparation that they have gone through. It is truly appreciated. Elias was, like I mentioned, a very humble man. And I'm going to talk about Elias, the people nobody knew. He started working for Nye Common School District. And I'm not going to repeat what you've already heard. The district was very small at that time. It was very, very poor, barely making it. So the Common School District and the lawyer, George Byfield at that time, was commissioned to approach LISD so that they would consolidate Nye Common School District with LISD. But at that time, I guess Nye Common School District was a liability, and they said no. So that was the end of that. At that time, the Troutmans kind of came to the rescue and offered the land where Nye sits at right now, and they started building. How, I don't know, because they didn't have the tax base. Del Mar was non-existent. It was brush out here, everywhere you looked. And the schools were funded by the census. Every year in January, the school census was taken, and based on how many people lived there, that's how the schools were funded. Now it's ADA. In the 70s, it changed kind of to the ADA, and so that's when the school district started getting a little bit more money. Del Mar started to grow. There were just 3 houses in Del Mar, and people didn't want to come and work at United. First of all, because they didn't know where it was. Secondly, it was just starting, and teachers were looking for something secure. So they went to LISD first of all, you know, and LISD had the attitude, don't call us, we'll call you. And so they came to United, and at that time, they were desperate for teachers, so if you had a degree, you were hired on the spot. Mr. Malish started he was the first superintendent. He started the school district, got the high school going, and he loved his work. He loved the people that he was working with. He got along really well with Elias, but his wife was very sick. We're talking about late 50s. And there was not a doctor in Laredo that could take care of her. So he went back to San Antonio. And not much has changed since the 50s, because we're still going to San Antonio for medical services, you know? And so he wanted Elias to go along with him. But, you know, it was like venturing into northern country, and he had family here, so he said no. Mr. Brantley came in and finished what had been started. And so, like I said, nobody wanted to come and work. And he was the recruiter without the title and without the pay for the district. He went around recruiting among his friends. He was going to A&I in Kingsville for his education, and so he recruited people from there, and so that's how the school was staffed. For the first couple of years, our students went to Martin High School, and that's why we had a very early graduating class. Mr. Brent at that time contracted with LISD and paid tuition to LISD so that our students could go and take the courses that they needed. So in 1965, we had the first graduating class at United. He drove the bus because nobody else wanted to work doing that job. He got up at 4:30 in the morning. There were 3 things he carried in his pocket: his wallet, the keys to the bus and the school, and his rosary. And so he loved doing that route because he says, Olga used to see the sunrises in the morning. They're beautiful. And all the wildlife that comes right before you. I mean, you never get to see any of that. I'm not a morning person. So I said, oh, that's great, you know. There was only one bus for each school. Cactus, Master Johnson, and Nye. So he did the route, and he went all the way to Las Mesas Ranch. If you're not familiar, that's almost close to Maverick County. And he finished that route, came and dropped the bus. Mr. Emiliano Martinez picked it up, gassed it up at Alfredo Santos's on San Bernardo, and did the route that he had to do. Elias came back. He would get on his truck, drive all the way to San Luis Rey Church for Mass. He came back and would go on to work. When Mary Help opened their schools, Monsignor Dunn was one of the priests that would have Mass at Mary Help. And so there again, he drove the bus, came back, dropped it off, went to Mass. By this time, there was a coffee club. Bill Young, Monsignor Dunn, Amparo and Feliciano Gutierrez, and Mr. Carrillo. Right after Mass, every single day, those people would finish, and all of those would go to Danny's for coffee. And of course, after that, they would each go their own way to their jobs. Every single day. He finished his day in the evening, around 10, 11, something like that, praying the rosary. Every single day. We were married for 60 years. And every night I can vouch that he prayed the rosary. He encouraged students to participate in sports. And a lot of them said, but sir, I live allá, quién sabe dónde. My parents can't bring me. That's okay, you're going to stay at the house. And so we housed the kids that were going to be playing whatever sport it was that they were in at our house so that they could be active in some kind of sports. He also, every Christmas, as soon as school started, he started a food drive, collecting food, canned goods, because every December he had Christmas bags for people in our community that he delivered. When we had those bags ready, which were about 10, 12, depending on how many people he and the nurse decided we're going to get the bags, he would then call me and said, Olga, we're going to need so many chickens. Go get a fryer, because we couldn't afford turkey. So I would go out there, go to Alfredo Santos and buy so many fryers and put one in each bag. And so then we went to deliver the baskets to the people that had been designated. He worked very, very hard and encouraged a lot of students. I remember one incident when there was this young man that wanted to go to he had a date and they were going to the prom. But he lived in the north and his date lived in the south and he didn't have a way. So he came to Elias and said, sir, will you give me a ride to my prom date's house? And he said, yeah. So he called me and we both took him somewhere way out there in South Laredo that I had never, ever been in, and told him, and he said, well, here, drop me off here. And he said, now, or do you have a way back? And he said, yes, I do. And he said, well, here's $1. If you need any help, call me and I'll go pick you up. And no, sir, no, I'll be all right. We've already taken care of that. But there were several instances like that he would do for the students. I don't even want to mention how many times he took off on our station wagon to pick up the kids that were stranded somewhere between Laredo and Jordantown, or Laredo and a little town in between Corpus. and the bus broke down, and so they needed to come home, and so there he went. Mr. Salas would go to one area, and Elias would go to the other because the kids were stranded. Remember, the school district was very strapped for money at that time, and so the buses were not top of the line, so they would break often, but there was always somebody there to go pick him up and bring him home. And so that is part of his life that a lot of people don't know about. A lot of the students that were involved with being picked up and taken home, because he would take them to their home. And there was no, well, I'll pay you mileage or whatever. This came out of his pocket. And another thing, he was always helping people out by co-signing a loan or this or that. And I would say, Elias, you do realize that if they don't pay, you're going to pay? Yes, yes, pero son buena paga. Okay, you know. And that was the kind of man he was. He would give the shirt off his back if you needed the help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Herrera. It's a pleasure and honor. Our next speaker this morning is Dr. Rosen Saldivar.
Hi. I've done this before. I'm Rose Saldivar. Friends call me Rosie. Again, I want to thank the Board of Trustees for this honor that you've bestowed on my father. We are very, very proud of Dad and Mom for what they've accomplished in this lifetime. You already know about Dad's accolades and accomplishments. I'm not going to talk about that. But I want to tell you about Dad as seen through my eyes. I'm the second born of 9. We're referred to at that time as the Herrera herd. It's not uncommon. This was information I'm going to give you just so you can understand the lineage of the family. We all attended United Independent School Districts, and this spans across about 30 years. The first graduate was in 1975, my older brother, and the last one was in 1991. My first grade teacher at Nye Elementary was Dolores Earls. I love that lady. I remember her telling us in class about the death of President John F. Kennedy and the sadness that we experienced with that. I remember the green chalkboards, the dusty erasers, the alphabet scale that we saw on top of the chalkboard. I remember also the cafeteria food. Back then, they made the food in each school. The warm bread that you smell throughout the school. Enchilada Fridays, no one would ever miss a Friday. You see, my brothers and sisters, we grew up with United School District as well. And the district, as Mom said, was very small back there. There was no houses in front of Nye. It was just Monte. We knew the superintendents at that time, Brantley and Hughes and other administration staff, and some of the founding residents of Del Mar, the Youngs. There's many of you out there. We weren't privileged or entitled by any means. In fact, my dad was the principal for Nye School when I was in attendance. Imagine seeing your dad at work during the day, then later at home. As a child, it could be mind-boggling. My point here is that the principal, Dad, would treat all students the same, well, sort of. We were the exception. Any disciplinary issues that we experienced in school, you can bet your bottom dollar that we were going to hear about it when we got home. I'm not going to embarrass anyone, but if you want a personal account of anything, you can talk to my older brother. Back in the day, Nye also had end-of-school programming. Remember, this is a very rural community, not much happening in Del Mar. So these productions equated to minor Broadway productions that were directed and produced by Mr. Falcon at the time, who is now deceased. But this activity showcased students' artistic accomplishments and brought a mostly rural community together to acquaint themselves with the school, the teachers, and other parents. Dad considered these measures as part of his responsibility for the benefits of the school, of the students attending the school. Now, moving forward in time, United Middle School, which is now Colonel Santos Benavides, was newly opened. Elias, my older brother, was already in attendance, and I was next. My older brother, Dad sitting at the kitchen table, sat down one time and with my older brother, myself, and my younger brother, Rick, who was just a year behind me, and told us that he was offered a position as principal to the new middle school. And he asked us what we thought about this. And we unanimously and strongly agreed that he should not take this position and that we wanted an opportunity to not have him as a principal for the rest of our school years. So this was a decision he respected, not that it did any good. A couple years later, as I was entering high school, he was promoted to assistant superintendent for the school district, and he was still a watchful eye over the family. Dad gave his all to the family, to the students, to United. Although we were a large family, we were never without essentials. He expected us to attend an institution of higher learning. It was never in question. We only had to pick what we wanted to study and where we were going to go. He was an advocate for all students, especially the underserved or less prosperous or those that were less resilient. As an adult, some of his former students, fellow classmates, now adults, told me how he helped them or their families. My father took the time to deliver food outside of the Christmas meals, food, sometimes just taking the time to talk to individuals, keeping them on the straight and narrow. I never knew this when I was growing up. Some time ago, he apologized to us for not giving us more out of life. We were astounded by this revelation. We told them he gave us an education. We could not ask for more. The rest of this is up to us. Life in its own right is challenging enough. Without an education, it is more so. I'm proud of my father for revealing this to myself and to my family and to students that he has inspired. Thank you. Go Hawks!
Hello. Thank you to the board and all the staff here for this great honor. My mom asked me to do this, and I'm the last one, and it's one of the consequences of doing this last is that everybody said everything that you were going to say. But when we came in through the entrance of the school, you were approached by the security guard, and he said, "Are you a member of the family?" And you said, "Yeah, we're a member of the family." "Okay, park over here." And as I come in and talking to everybody, all of you are a member of the family. Everybody should have a Herrera on their table. So I didn't write anything because I just can't do that when I talk about Dad. How do you encompass 40 years of school in a speech? And Rosie did a great job, Mom did a great job. When I just learned about 60 years UISD and you find out your dad worked 40 years of those, it makes you pause, and it makes you think about all the students that he touched and just encouraged. And it's amazing. Doing all of that with 9 kids in the house, and all of them successful. And I give this talk to my kids, and I give it to even the Little League team that I used to coach. I mean, these are young kids, and I would tell them, and I'd tell them now, my kids, what's the most valued thing in your life? The most important thing in your life? And a lot of them would say, well, my family, or my wife, my God. And I tell them, you're wrong. It's none of those things. The most important thing in your life is time. Because without time, you don't have time to spend with your family. You don't have time to spend with your wife. You don't have time to spend with your kids. So your choices on how you spend your time is vital, is critical. And I want you to do this later, and I do this because I asked Siri, what's the average lifespan of a human being on the planet? And Siri will come back and tell you 79 years. So you have 79 years on average to make an impact on this world. 79 years. I know some of the older people are going, oh crap, 79. I got to get to work. But all of you have touched kids' lives and done amazing things. And like Mom said, with that time that Dad went to church every morning, I only learned about it when Mary Help was built and go to church with the nuns at 5:15, 5 o'clock. Every day. She's not lying. Every day. Rosary every night. He made time. He didn't sacrifice anything. He made time. He coached. He coached in Bobby. That's why I asked him about the Hawks logo. He coached Little League, or he coached Senior League. And he wanted students, he wanted people to be the best version of themselves. The best version of themselves. So you hear a lot about baseball players and successful baseball players. They hit 300. That means they failed 7 out of 10 times. So if you hit the ball 3 times out of 10, you are a successful player. You're an all-star. He knew that, and he got it because he realized you're going to fail. You have to fail. That's the only way you're going to get better. 7 out of 10 times you're going to fail. Those 3 times you're considered an all-star. He knew that. He let you fail. And he'd pick you up and say, did you learn something? And that was the other thing. Did you learn something from your failure? Yeah, I sure did. I'm not going to listen to you sometimes when you're telling me to fence something and you're just going by eye and we start veering off because we did that. He was telling me to dig posts every 10 yards and he's going, you're going straight, and I go to the back and it's veering off and I'm like, Dad, dang it. So he failed as well. But again, he wanted the best version of everybody to shine. And lastly, I think it was Zulema Solis and Pokey told me this story. Most of you are pretty old and you know about MASH. And they told me when a teacher asked for something, he found it. Remember? And he goes, you remember MASH? He was like radar from MASH. Nobody knew what radar heard it. Nobody knew where it came from, but he found it. And that's what my dad was to the school. He was radar. You needed something, he found it. And I told her, it's probably best you didn't know how he acquired it, but he found it. And so I hope everyone, and the staff included, to not forget to inspire kids to be the best version of themselves. Let them fail. That's the most important thing, is to let them fail, because knowing who you're not is just as important as knowing who you are. And that's the message that I'm going to leave with you, and I thank you on behalf of the family and everybody here for what you're doing for Dad. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Dr. Juan J. Herrera. I didn't have an opportunity to introduce him. Dr. Rose N. Saldivar and Mrs. Olga Herrera, thank you for taking time sharing Mr. Herrera's story. So much of what he did is integral to the success we're seeing today. You need a good foundation to succeed at anything. And your words were very edifying, and we appreciate it, and makes this day even more extraordinary. We're going to be doing a little moving around here for the last part of our presentation. Do we have a drummer over there? Because we're going to need you in a few moments. All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to announce that at this time we're going to do something that we've long anticipated. We did this virtually, but now we've arrived at that moment where the community and everybody at UISD can witness the cutting of the ribbon for this fine campus. I'd like to invite our ribbon cutting committee, as well as the Herrera family members, those of you who wish to join us up here, our superintendent, our Mr. Castillo, please, and any of our administrators who wish to join us up here as well. Do y'all want to go?
You're doing a great job, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm going to get out of the way or I'll be photobombing here. Okay, we're going to wait till everybody's in place. A moment we have long anticipated. It's about time, right, Ms. Herrera? It's about time and we're all here. God bless this day. All right, we're going to be doing it on 3. Let's get that drum roll going. Drummer? All right. 3, we're going to cut this ribbon. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. We are open again. We'd like to thank everyone who came out for today's ribbon cutting ceremony, our live dedication of Elias Herrera Middle School. Thank you to the family, our Board of Trustees, our Superintendent, Principal Martinez. Sincere thank you to everybody who took time from their busy day to join us for this extraordinary day in UISD history, the formal dedication of Elias Herrera Middle School, home of the Hawks, where the official colors are the most beautiful combination imaginable, blue, orange, and yellow. So have a safe day. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and thank you so much for making this a very spectacular morning. Thank you.